I know nobody's really watching these videos, but I kind of want to talk on this point anyway. Why it makes me angry what I'm seeing today. And I don't mean like angry as in like I'm going to go proactively attack somebody. I don't believe in that. But I mean just angry like righteous anger. Like you see something that's wrong and you want to fix it. And so let me break it down to just the simplest thing. Outside of the Bible, outside of the Lord Jesus Christ, outside of, the foundation of what I believe, I don't think there's any single greatest writing than the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. I believe them to be, next to the Bible, the greatest documents men have ever produced. And outside of God running this world, I can't imagine a system of equality or fairness that if done according to the legislation, according to the Constitution, that you can find in this world for prosperity, for peace, for equality. Like the founder said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Now, there was a bump, in America of this idea becoming practice, because there's always been wicked people out there that want to advance themselves and lose others. And there are people out there that are like that today. And they're no different than the people that were like that in the old times. The people that are fighting for more representation now are no different, zero different than the people that owned slaves then. You're still oppressing. You're still oppressing a people so that you can have more than is due. And that's what the people that owned slaves back then were. They were people that were willing to oppress and harm other people to advance themselves. And that's exactly what's going on today. And they think that that's okay because it's eye for eye, tooth for tooth. But what they don't realize is none of the eyes and none of the teeth they're plucking out today ever had anything to do with what happened, 200, 300, 400 years before we were born. It's just, it's insane what's going on in the world today. But outside of the Bible, outside of the Lord Jesus Christ, outside of that system of fairness, which is unparalleled, and humans are too flawed to be able to institute it and practice it. But the Constitution is possible to practice if there aren't people out there trying to get more than is due, trying to have more than equality, trying to be able to oppress others to advance themselves. And that's what the Constitution tries to prevent. It doesn't give government more power than people. So the government can't oppress the people. But, it doesn't give some people more power than other people. It doesn't give the mob more power than the individual citizens. That's why we have electoral colleges and things like that, is because, the mobs are always going to congregate to the cities, where you're going to have just the mass of population. But the people out in the countries, they need representation as well. So that's why we have the electoral college. And it's a system of fairness, because in any institution, the mob is almost never right. The mob backed Hitler. The mob in Russia backed Joseph Stalin. The mob in Italy backed Benito Mussolini. Any criminal that's ever existed, they were part of the mob at that time. Any just major criminal. And so the system that the government gives us is one of life, liberty, and property. I don't believe, constitutionally, outside of the Bible, you can have a system that is more fair and more free than the Constitution and the Republic, the constitutional republic. There's no system that has ever existed, save God's system before man's governments were founded. There's no system that ever existed that was any more fair or any more gave any more liberty, prosperity, property to people than our system. It doesn't exist. Outside of the Bible, it does not exist. So, it makes me angry when I see people taking things from other people. They want more than is due. It makes me angry because I'm in the demographic, obviously. I'm in the, checkbox demographic of, the enemy. I'm in the group that is being oppressed to give more to others. You take it race-wise, just color of the skin. Nobody believes the white guy now. A black guy and a white guy getting an altercation, nobody believes the white guy, Doesn't matter. Even if it's clear cut, even if there's video evidence, even if there's no denying it, even if there's 300 witnesses, the nobody believes, the popular culture or the media or whatever's advanced, nobody believes the white guy. And when it comes to male and female, it's the same, Nobody believes the male, over the female, It's an uphill battle. You're fighting uphill. And more, you see more and more legislation that is just like the legislation that oppressed black people, 150 years ago, that has, people so up in arms and angry. The legislation you're doing is the exact same. You're just targeting different people. You're just, instead of, cutting black people out, you're cutting white people out. And you think that that's somehow okay, but it isn't. It's a human rights issue. And if America lasts 100 years, you're going to be remembered the same as we now remember slave owners 200 years ago, as oppressors, as wicked people, as evil people that are just cruel, that want more than is due, that don't want to work for what you have, or whatever the condition is that's making it to where you got to oppress the white guy. And people can talk about white privilege and everything all they want, but maybe you see it that way, and I see some small little arguments where I'm like, yeah, maybe kinda, yeah, there are white families that they got their wealth way back in slave days, and that gave them more advancement. Now they're maybe the richest families in the world or whatever. But that ain't my family. That ain't 99% of white families. The people that are living on slave wealth from, hundreds of years ago, they're few and far between. My dad was poor, I grew up in a poor family. I had to fight my way up from nothing, So I've lost everything in my life. I went down to rock bottom where I didn't have nothing. I didn't own anything, and my credit score was like a 500, and a 500 is worse than zero. I lost everything, and I had to fight my way back up. I had to have college. I had to have military. I had to have experience. I had to have all these things just to try to get a job, you have to make yourself so desirable if you're a white person, because there's so many benefits given to companies that hire not white people. There's a certain amount, oddly enough, some weird quota system and stuff like that. You have to be able to, if you have more than 15 employees, you're regulated. You have to be able to show, I'm hiring these people based on your skin color. And that's not what the Constitution is about. So I'm watching people trample on the Constitution. I'm watching people take away, outside of God, something that I hold very dear, outside of the Bible, the second most thing I hold dear as far as legislation and writings and things like that, and it's painful to watch. It's painful to watch. And it's painful for everybody to watch. Everybody that is a sound mind out there, they don't like this. They don't like what's going on. I don't care about statues. I don't care about kneeling at football games. I don't care if you love the flag or hate the flag. That doesn't bother me. Those are symbols. The symbol of the thing doesn't bother me. I don't care about the symbol. Sure, to some people it bothers, and that's fine. If people burning, a flag bothers you, fine. Don't bother me. I don't care. It doesn't. If you want to purchase a flag and burn it, it's your prerogative. But, I care about the heart of the nation, what it really is. It's kind of like, to me, if you burn somebody's clothes as opposed to burning that person, the flag is just it's a symbol. It's something to look at, whereas the country is the principle, the heart, the main thing. People are too concerned with symbols. They're too up in arms about these types of things. I don't care if you kneel on my grave when I die. I don't care if you spend 6 years spitting in a cup and then you come pour out all that spit on my grave when I die. Like, I don't care. It don't mean nothing to me. So people can do their little random stuff. It doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when I see people when I see that same spirit that these people claim to hate. I mean, these supposed, BLMs and whatever claim to just hate this oppression and whatever that happened in the past. It's just super angry about it, but they have no problem doing it. They say they hate that system, but they are that system. They're proof that if they were alive back then and they were the Democrats, the white Democrats, they'd have done the same thing that the white Democrats were doing back then. Same thing. They're proof that they would have done the same thing because they're the same mob and they're still willing to oppress other people. They have the same heart as slave owners did back then. The exact same heart. It's no different. It's no different. If you're willing to hold somebody else down, if you're willing to hold somebody else accountable, if you're willing to oppress somebody else, if you're willing to walk up and punch an old man in the back of the head, or you're willing to burn down somebody else's business, or you're willing to do those types of things, you are the exact type of person that was willing to hang a person just because the color of their skin 200 years ago. You're the exact same. You're no different. You claim to hate them. You claim that we should pay you reparations, but you are them. You are modern day them. You are them. If you were alive back then and you could have done it, you would have owned slaves. You would have. I know that because you were oppressing people who didn't do anything to you. Didn't do anything to you. And let's just state a fact. I heard somebody say this, and it's true. To be sold as a slave, you had to have been a slave. You understand that? Like, they had to have captured you and enslaved you and owned you to then sell you, right? So if Americans, and I ain't saying slavery's right, I hate it. But the fact is that if Americans didn't buy you, somebody else would have. Or your forefathers, somebody else would have. And Brazil, most slaves went to Brazil. Do you think that your forefathers ever would have been free if you hadn't been sent to America or purchased and brought to America, your forefathers? Do you think you ever would have been free? No, you just would have been slaves somewhere else. Like, you were already slaves. Your ancestors were already slaves before they sold you to America. So if America wasn't out buying, you would your ancestors would still have been slaves, just somewhere else. It's no different. You are already slaves. So it's the people that sold you that have the greater sin. It's like Jesus told Pilate. He said, the people that delivered me to you, they have the greater sin. Pilate was about to let them crucify Jesus. And he said, hey, the people that delivered me to you, they've done the greater sin. That's how Jesus felt about it. And it's the same. The people that enslaved you in the first place, they had the greater sin. And I understand, but if there are still slaves in Africa, Brazil, there's some pretty parts of Brazil, but it's not a better place to be than America. And, supposedly America brought over 300,000 slaves. That's supposedly the number. I don't know how they know that, but 300,000. There are 42 million free American black men and women today is the last number that I heard. Somebody said 42 million, and liberals were praising him because he was doing some statistical math that didn't even analyze, quantitative data at all, or qualitative data at all. It was totally junk, but he said 42 million, so I'm just basically going on that. The last I actually heard was 35 million, but maybe the numbers are up. I don't know. But whatever it is. And there's more opportunities. You never heard of the American dream? There's more opportunities here than there are anywhere, in any country, because of our Constitution, because of this country. So it makes me angry. Not angry enough to not that I would say vengeance is mine, but yeah, it makes me angry to see something I love so much trampled on and twisted, and so many lies, and I'm the enemy in all these situations. And I love equality. I want everybody to be treated the same. I don't feel that there should be any treat this person this way because of their skin color. I think everybody should be judged on the heart, how they act, how they treat people, how they care about people, who they are, their attitudes, their character. That's just how I believe. I don't even believe race is the thing. It's like having curly hair or straight hair. Like, who cares, And I think probably more than 90% of the world are with me on that, but it's a fact that if you're part of the BLM movement, I'm talking about the drivers. I'm not talking about the people that actually think that it's a legitimate movement and they actually think they're helping, black Americans. I'm talking about the drivers. I'm talking about the people that just really hate white people and want to make us pay for something that we never done. Something that offends our heart. We would never do. It's outrageous. But if you were part of one of those organizations today, you would have been part of the KKK 200 years ago. or 150 years ago, or however long ago that it was formed, you would have been part of that group, you know. Now, if you had black skin, then obviously you wouldn't have, but if you had been born with white skin, you'd have been part of that group, because it's all about, I'm going to advance me. I don't care what it costs anybody else. And that same heart was what led the Democratic KKK, 150 years ago. And you have that heart now. You're no different. You claim some kind of moral high ground or whatever, but you're no different. You're zero different. Jesus said this type of thing about the Pharisees. He said, this is proof that you are your fathers. You are exactly the same as your fathers. You killed the prophets. Your fathers killed the prophets, and so will you. You're the same. And guess what? Jesus was right. He was right. They didn't like it. They were the mob. They were the popular ones, and they killed him for saying it. He wasn't popular. He was well known, but he wasn't well liked. They killed him because he told them the truth. He testified of them that their deeds were evil. And that's the way it is now. That's what everybody needs to understand. If you're part of one of these groups now, these hate groups now, you would have been part of that hate group then if you fit in the brackets to be it. You would have been the same. You have the same heart. The same heart. You're willing to take away white jobs. You're willing to take away white people's money. Not because they're your enemy. Not because they've ever done anything wrong to you. Just because of the color of their skin. That's exactly how the KKK was. That's exactly how any oppressor's ever been, ever. They have that same heart. That they don't care about other people. And that's the point. And that makes me angry because it's such a wicked heart. And then to see these people that act like they're the moral high ground and everything, but they're the exact same as the people they claim to be hating. Hypocrisy is so frustrating. It's so frustrating to watch. It's very frustrating because it is hypocrisy. If you're part of this, black militia, I forget what it's called. I think it's got a curse word in it, whatever it is. That's exactly like the KKK, only, they don't have the same cover-ups so far as the Democratic KKK did back then. They had, people in power willing to just say, yeah, let them do whatever they want. But I don't know if they did. I don't know what would happen if that militia group did. If they just started shooting white people. I wouldn't be surprised in this world today if people were just like, yeah, white people deserve it. And that's exactly how people felt back then. I've seen people say that if you have white skin, you're a demon. That's exactly the type of argument they made back then to oppress black people. They said they're not human. They're not humans. They used evolution to say that they were like the step between monkeys and men. That's actually what Darwin believed. That's actually what a lot of these democratic people back then believed. They believed that black people were like the missing link. They weren't full human. They were like between monkey and man. That's what they actually believed. So they used that excuse to say they're not real humans. The same excuse people use to murder babies today. Oh, it's just a fetus. It's just a fetus. It's not really a baby, And then you watch a video of them ripping an arm off and it's trying to get away. Why is it trying to get away if it doesn't have a soul, if it doesn't feel pain, if it's not a human? Why is it trying to get away? Why? Imagine what it's doing inside the womb. Take it outside the womb and rip its body parts off while it's awake. Imagine how it would scream and squirm. It's doing that in the belly. It's doing that in the belly. But the same liberals that are pushing all this other stuff, they don't care. They don't care. It's the same. It's the exact same heart. You're just as wicked. You're just as evil. You're just as mean. You're just as sadistic. You're just as positive for slavery or anything else. If you would hate somebody for the color of their skin, now you would have done it then. You have the same wicked, evil heart. It's wicked. I ain't saying that heart can't be fixed. But that's on you. It's not on me. I can't fix your heart. I can't. All I can try to do is get you to recognize that you have the same heart. So different. So different. I've never done anything to you. As a nation, no white person alive ever enslaved your ancestors. But you don't have any problem with walking up behind an old guy and punching him in the back of the head. No problem pulling somebody out of a car and beating them to death. Zero problem. You're the same. You're the same. If you could have got away with it back then, you'd have done it. You're no different. And that's what people need to understand. I love what this country was founded on, the principles it was founded on. They're amazing to me. Outside of the Bible, just the best legislation. And if people had done it right from the beginning, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But there's always been evil people that want to take from others and give it to themselves. They want to allow other people to suffer so that they can advance themselves. And if you are in these movements, you're the same. You want other people to suffer so you could advance yourselves. You want free, give me this for free, but it's not free. It's something somebody else paid for. If they gave this group the state of Texas, for instance, just you think they give it to you for free. It's not free. Millions of people live here. They'd have to just kick them out just because you're white or Hispanic, not black. Anybody not black, kicked out. Black people only. It's not free. You're not giving it for free. You're giving it at the cost of other people. And you don't care. You don't have a single heart or feeling for their suffering. It doesn't bother you at all. You even get on TV and tell us it doesn't bother you at all, that you don't care at all, which makes you exactly the type of person that would have taken somebody else and let them work for free for your benefit, because you're doing it to other people today. If you don't want to work for a living, if you want socialism or you want to take disability just because you made the choice to eat 3,000 too many hamburgers or whatever, you're saying, I want other people to work so that I can get money. And I don't have to live with my decisions. I want them to live with my decisions. That's exactly the same heart. You're willing for other people to suffer and toil and work for your gain. It's the exact same heart. Zero difference. So it's ironic to me today that the people that want us to pay reparations for slavery, the people that advocate for that, red, yellow, black, brown, or white, the people that are advocating for that have the exact same heart. The people that they claim to be fighting and getting reparations from is themselves. They are those people. If you had been born with white skin 200 years ago, you would have been a slave owner. 100%, 110%, because you have the same heart that says, I want other people to suffer so that I can gain. If this heart isn't fixed, how's the country ever going to move on and realize what the Constitution is all about? We're never going to realize it if people don't stop advancing themselves at the cost of others. all we did was swing the pendulum to the other side. It's never going to be fixed if every individual person doesn't fix themselves. And if people don't start calling out and say, you're the slave master. You're the person with a wicked heart trying to advance yourself at somebody else's cost. It's you. If they don't start calling you out for the terrible heart that you have and shaming you for that wicked heart that wants other people to work for you so that advance you. You're the same thing as a slave owner was then. You want other people to work for free and advance you, give you all the profits. Zero difference. Either way, I just wanted to put this point out there. I just want people to understand it's a hard issue. And that's the reason we haven't been able to realize the equality that our Constitution was designed for. This is the reason that it makes me angry, because I know that it will never be realized so long as there are just wicked people out there that want to exist on other people's backs, that want other people to work. They want to take from other people's families, other people's homes, other people's lives that they worked hard for just to advance themselves for free. Don't want to do anything to earn it. In fact, they'll do nothing but cause trouble, and they think that will earn it. Like that people will just happily be like, yeah, go ahead and give them my money since they've helped me out so much by burning down my neighborhood grocery store, you know, by killing a bunch of my fellow countrymen in the street. You know, you're the same. You're the exact same as they were then. You'd have been a slave owner if you could have got away with it. You're no different. I know I wouldn't have been. I know for a fact I wouldn't have been. Because I know how my heart is. My heart is treat other people right. My heart is, you know, equality. My heart is let's realize the dream that was America. And let's stop letting wicked people that want to advance themselves at the cost of others make all the decisions. That's all we need to do. Anyways, Lord bless those of you out there that treat people the same, no matter what their skin color is or external characteristics is. You know, Lord bless you guys. Lord bless you guys that are speaking out, that are telling people, hey, you know, if you really want to help end, you know, these measures, the racism and stuff like that, if you really want, you know, to solve a lot of the problems that are leading to black death, white death, Hispanic death, Indian death, whatever death, if you really want to get this country to a system of equality, God bless you. But if you're the modern day wicked-hearted slave owner that doesn't mind that other people work and you get to reap the benefits of that, then I hope that the Lord causes everything you do to fail. I pray that the Lord causes everything you do in your entire life to fail until you get your heart right. I pray that when you pray for rain, that He gives you a drought. I pray that when you pray no tornado wipes out your home, that He sends a tornado just for your home. I pray that when you sit down at sleep to go to bed at night and you pray that nobody breaks into your house, that somebody breaks into your house that very night and takes everything from you. Because until your heart is fixed, this country can't be fixed. So when you go to sleep at night, if you're this modern day racist, modern day slave owner, when you go to sleep at night and you say your prayers, when you see something bad coming for you and you say your prayers, you say, Lord, help me. Know that me and many other people are counter-praying your prayer. We are praying that the Lord does not hear your heathen prayer. We are. And I know He's listening to me because I'm a child of God. I trusted on Jesus Christ farther back than I can even remember. As long as I can remember, I've known that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I've known that He died, buried, and rose again for my sins as far back as I can remember. And I've been praying. The Bible says, as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. And I've received him, and I've been a son of God for many years. I know he hears my prayers. So I'm going to go to sleep at night every night and say, if you're the modern day slave master, if you're the modern day wicked-hearted person that is willing to let other people suffer for your gain, I'm going to be counter-praying. You're going to notice your life turning upside down. You're going to notice when you do something to try to be happy, it's just going to make you more miserable. You're going to notice that you're getting the things that you want, and they're all dead. They're all rotten. You're going to notice it. Because my Father hears me. And he don't believe that you should be an oppressor. So there are many of us out there praying against you. If you're the slave owner type person today. And if we were alive 200 years ago, as evidenced by our heart now, we'd have done the same thing to the slave owners. Because it is wicked, wicked, wicked to exist on somebody else's labor, to exist on somebody else's work, to exist on to just let somebody work for free. That is wicked. The Bible even says it's wicked. The Bible even says it takes a wicked heart not to pay somebody for their works. So that's what you need to understand. Either way, like I said, hey, if you love the Lord, if you're called for his purpose, I pray for you every night. That every time you pray that the Lord bless you, I'm praying it too. Every time that you pray that, the Lord advance you and give you prosperity and cause everything you touch to turn to gold, I'm praying it too. But if you're the opposite, I'm praying against you all the time. And I know my Father hears me. I know he hears me. And I know he don't hear you because he ain't wicked. So you're going to notice everything you do fail. Everything you do fail. And even when you think it wins, even when you think you got what you wanted, it ain't going to make you happy. You're just going to be even more bitter and even more angry. And your life is just going to go to complete crap. And the more you try to take from other people, the more happiness and joy and love will be stolen from you. And you'll never be happy. You'll be bitter all the time. All right. I know I've oversaid my piece. Lord bless.